This video starts with a number that keeps a lot of people awake at night: 20%. If you are looking to buy your first home, you have probably stared at a savings calculator, realized what 20% down actually looks like, and felt completely locked out of the market. Assuming that 20% is a strict requirement creates a trap. Middle-income earners who could comfortably manage a monthly mortgage payment end up sidelining themselves, stuck paying rent while they try to catch up to an impossible target. And while you wait those 5 or 10 years trying to save that massive lump sum, inflation does not pause. Home prices climb, rent increases eat into your savings rate, and your purchasing power slowly erodes. But the 20% rule is an outdated assumption. If you are exclusively focused on hitting that specific down payment number, you are trying to solve the wrong mathematical equation. The true financial barrier that you actually need to plan for is a broader metric known as cash to close. Reframing the problem around cash to close instead of a single percentage allows you to start evaluating properties based on their actual cost to acquire, rather than a theoretical savings goal. Your down payment is strictly the portion of the purchase price you are paying up front. It is an important piece of the math, but it is only one line item in the final calculation. This ledger matrix breaks down the reality of cash to close. On the left is your down payment. On the right, the cash to close column stacks much higher because it adds in closing costs, prepaid taxes, and emergency reserves. Those prepaids, like your homeowner's insurance premiums and your initial property tax escrow deposits, are not random junk fees. They are the required upfront costs to set up your ownership safely and legally. We also factor in reserves. The plan fails if you drain every dollar you have at the closing table and wake up the next morning with an empty bank account and a house to maintain. When you map out these hidden costs early, you protect yourself. You avoid touring homes, falling in love, and then finding out you do not actually have the cash to fund the deal. Cash to close will always be a larger total than your down payment alone. But once you break it apart and see the actual components, it stops being a paralyzing fear and becomes a solvable planning equation. So how do you solve that equation? If you have a stable income and a solid work history, but you do not have the savings to cover that entire cash to close column today, how do you cross the gap without waiting another 5 years? You cross it by using leverage. Specifically, you use other people's money through government grants and local assistance tools, like Florida's SHIP program. SHIP unlocks up to $40,000 in zero-interest assistance, pulling your out-of-pocket cash slider drastically down. Engineered for middle-income earners, SHIP can be completely forgivable, unlike Hometown Heroes. Applying this to cash to close removes upfront barriers, locking in housing costs years early. Strategic buyers look for structural leverage to exit the rental cycle and start building equity sooner than their savings alone would allow. Knowing you need leverage is one thing, but you also have to negotiate correctly. This is where a lot of buyers completely misunderstand offer strategy. A common mistake is fighting aggressively to lower the purchase price of the home while ignoring the out-of-pocket costs required to close the deal. On the left, a $10,000 price drop barely lowers your 30-year monthly payment. On the right, a $10,000 seller credit eliminates massive upfront cash requirements. This credit directly covers closing costs or buys down your interest rate, preserving liquid cash for unexpected first-year repairs. The strongest real estate offer is rarely the lowest price. It's the structure that best protects your cash, your monthly payment, and your long-term plan. There is a non-negotiable law when you start using these strategies. Other people's money comes with other people's rules. This checklist outlines the exact trade-offs you have to accept. Utilizing state grants requires navigating strict household size and income limits. If you make $1 over the cap, you do not qualify. Second, the property itself must qualify. Programs like FHA, USDA, and SHIP require the home to meet strict safety and habitability standards. A house might look like a great deal online, but if it has peeling paint, a failing roof, or missing flooring, the program will likely disqualify it entirely. Finally, there is bureaucratic friction. Using these tools means accepting longer underwriting timelines and extremely rigorous document reviews. Navigating these administrative steps is how you secure tens of thousands of dollars in financial leverage without using your own cash. Buyers demanding maximum speed must bring their own cash. But for massive leverage, you must willingly embrace the rules. This brings us to a common tactical mistake: starting your home search with physical tours before you have finalized your financial strategy. A basic pre-approval just answers whether a bank will lend you money. True mortgage planning determines the smartest, safest way to actually structure the purchase. This flowchart maps out the actual order of operations. Step 1 is to plan. You sit down with a planning team to understand your true affordability, chart your credit path, and define a comfortable monthly payment. Step 2 is to verify. You confirm exactly which assistance programs, income limits, and seller credit rules apply to your specific municipality and financial profile. Only then do you move to Step 3, shop. You build a precise buy box and only tour properties that fit your verified strategy and your actual cash-to-close reality. A transactional buyer guesses at the numbers and hopes for the best. A strategic owner gets the full picture first, ensuring their first home acts as a launchpad for long-term wealth, not a financial trap.